Hi there, and welcome to another one of my classic reviews where I pick one of my all-time favourite movies, give it a rewatch and then come review it. And in this video I'm talking about Punch Drunk Love, which is this sort of art house rom-com, and it's one of my very favourite rom-coms. It comes from writer director Paul Thomas Anderson, whose films I've reviewed quite a bit in the last year, and Punch Drunk Love is one of his very finest works. It's a real oddity, it's very weird, very strange, and it's one of those weird, strange films that clicks perfectly for me. Although I perfectly imagine that many people will just find this not to their taste. That's fine, this is why I think it's a classic, but I don't know how many other people do. It's certainly a very strange film, and it's something that many people just won't necessarily care for, and that's fine. So, the first thing that I think is an interesting stylistic point about Punch Drunk Love is that Punch Drunk Love isn't just this art house rom-com, it has a bunch of other layers within it. It's a very lean film, it's only 90 minutes, it's not particularly fleshed out, it's very simple, it's very clean. It's not a film with loads and loads of flourishes and tangents. It's very, very elegant and delicate and very, very carefully precise in how it is made. So one style that I quite like about this film that is kind of interesting is that it's kind of a superhero film in a very minor way. So Paul Thomas Anderson often uses Americana and American culture, and he touches upon that in his films, and he often inflects his film with those kind of touches. But this film features Adam Sandler, who by the way is absolutely fantastic in this film, and this is the film which is proof that he is a very talented actor. And in this film, his character often wears a combination of red, white and blue. He also has a bunch of other stuff throughout the film that imply the Superman-like allegory to this film. So he's kind of Superman in that he can run and he keeps on running. He can fly using this entirely convoluted pudding scheme that he exploits in the film. He has a love that he wants to fight for, whose initials are incidentally LL. He also has a lot of incredible strength, as shown in the sequences where he fights, and when he does fight, he can take on many people. He also has a villain played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is someone rich and powerful, kind of a Lex Luthor-like figure. We see his company, the Mattress Man. We see trucks in the background, or in minor ways in other shots throughout the film. His influence is reaching. He also, in the final confrontation between Adam Sandler's character and Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, Hoffman's character has a kind of cape. So there's a bunch of little things here and there that just has a Superman sort of thing to it. I'm not saying this film is about Superman, I think it isn't really touching on that. I just think it's a very interesting stylistic flourish that is just below the surface and worth looking for if you ever get around to watching the film. So what really this film is about is a love story. It's a fantasy. It's about two people falling in love. It's about the oddball creep getting the girl. However, what I think makes Punch Drunk Love a bit weird is just how dark and disturbing it is. For one, I don't necessarily think that the relationship formed is healthy at all. It's actually quite the opposite. The relationship is also not necessarily the fantasy of the main male character. In fact, the female lead here is the one who sets up the relationship. She lies to the main character, she stalks him, she's obsessed with him, she controls him, she manipulates him, she arranges all the meetings. It's clearly orchestrated by her. It's her fantasy. This is the film where she is getting Superman, the man who will fight for her in all scenarios. In fact, the final sequence is her from behind putting her arms around him in that very Superman-like pose of them sort of flying off into the world. She is the one getting what she wants. And there's a reason why the film has songs playing with the lyrics, he needs me, because he needs her. She doesn't need him. She's not dependent on him at all. It's all about her getting him. And we even see that she kind of stalks him. When you really think about the relationship, it's built from her side getting him, not him getting her. There's also a very interesting thing here, which is that his reaction to her is violent. He talks about smashing her face with a sledgehammer, and although that sounds like really unhealthy, it is weirdly romantic in the way it's delivered, and I think part of that is because this is a film about love only through pain. We literally see love on bloodied knuckles. We see that love comes through pain in this film, and we see that the characters go through a lot of suffering to get to their love. In fact, it seems that almost as if he thinks she's too beautiful to preserve. He can only love her through her suffering, and that's kind of twisted and perverse, but the fact that they both want this makes the world smaller and smaller. In fact, there's a lot of tricks here that Paul Thomas Anderson uses to make the film feel small. There's a lot of haze and a lot of lens flare, so the characters are frequently sort of blurry. We have a lot of silhouettes of the lovers with light around them. It's like the world contains just them, and that's basically what they want. They want the world to be smaller and just have them in it. The main character, Barry Egan, is such a twisted character in that he's really angry and he has a lot of personal troubles. He has a lot of trouble fitting in the world, and he is someone who cries, someone who doesn't understand himself, someone who doesn't know his strength, someone who gets angry easily. He comes from a world where he's the odd one out. He has 7 sisters. His world is surrounded by women who essentially control him, his sisters and his lover. He also has to take on brothers to get with his lover, which is kind of an interesting thing about him being the man controlled by women who takes on other men. It's an interesting dynamic, and I think this is a film which is just kind of strangely weird in the way that it works. The main character is such an intricately bizarre creation, but yet someone whose introversion really defines him. He's someone who wants and values privacy, and people who don't give him privacy are the people he doesn't want to talk to. In fact, there's a thing made of, he calls a sex line, but he isn't after lust, he's after someone to talk to, someone to share secrets with. And that's what he gets when he eventually gets his lover. The lover in the film is the only person who he seems to genuinely be totally open with. And that's why this film really has a romantic edge to it. There's also such an odd soundscape to Punch Drunk Love. It has this very weird musical score that is really odd and really just bizarre and creepy, and something that adds a lot of atmosphere in the key moments. It's a film which is very well made and very well put together. It's lean and efficient, and one of the films that just really showcases the talents of Paul Thomas Anderson. I don't think this is Paul Thomas Anderson's best film, but it could well be my subjective favourite film of his. It's a film of his that I just come back to a lot because it's one of those films that I just find very endearing. It's not beautiful because it's too disturbing and too weird and too sort of odd to really be a beautiful film, but it is very unique and very, very different. And I think if you want a kind of rom-com art house movie that kind of is something that you don't get in other films, you don't tend to get art house movies that are this shallow, you don't tend to get romantic movies that are this artsy, and you're not going to get comedies that are this strange, and so it's something that's different and unique, and there's no film really quite like Punch Drunk Love in a lot of ways. It's also a film that just proves beyond all doubt that Adam Sandler is a talented actor, so if you want to watch a movie where Adam Sandler is really good, this is the one to watch. I think without Adam Sandler, this film would be a lot worse than it is. Adam Sandler is absolutely breathtakingly great in this film, and so it's a real shame that his career is basically relegated to a lot of crap otherwise. So that's what I think of Punch Drunk Love, which is a film I love, but it's obviously something that's a pretty divisive film. It's certainly a film which I've seen ranked as one of Anderson's best films, and a film I've seen ranked as one of Anderson's worst films. So I'd love to hear what you guys think of it, so leave me a comment to let me know. And if you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to watch more of my reviews, then please subscribe. If you want to read more of my reviews, you can follow me on Letterboxd or Twitter, links in the description. And thank you for watching.